everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name's Christy and I'm the owner of Simply Femme Studio. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a full tour and tutorial of how I use Notion to plan all of my travel and my trips. So I'm actually currently in France because I'm studying abroad for the semester. A lot of my friends have been wanting to plan small trips to other parts of Europe since it's so much cheaper to travel within Europe than it is to travel from the US to Europe. And this made me realize how time-consuming trip planning can actually be. And I thought it was the perfect time for me to try to develop a system that was simple yet really effective to plan all of my trips at once and have everything laid out and organized for myself while I'm traveling abroad this semester. So let's just get right into the video and into the Notion template. Once you open up the template on your laptop, the first thing you're gonna see is like the travel hub where all of your links, all your databases will be found. So you open it up and you have a clock widget as well as a navigation bar with all of your trips, the countries you wanna see, your cities, a travel journal, and a language learning hub. And we're gonna go through all of these individually in a second. And then you also have some important travel links that I've added. So I added Skyscanner, that has come in clutch while we've been here. We can see like where the cheapest flights are. There's also Google Flights, Hostel World. You can add Airbnb, any other links that you use when you're traveling. It's super easy to add a link. All you have to do is type /embed, and then you paste the link and it'll work for you. And then the next thing here is just a really pretty photo that I found, as well as a widget where you can edit the number of countries you visited by clicking up or down. And then I added in a small like Spotify playlist. You can easily embed your own by just clicking replace and pasting the Spotify link, and it'll replace it on the homepage, as well as upcoming travel, which is just a smaller view of the My Trips page. And then scrolling down, the last thing that we have here is a calendar, so you can see exactly when your new trips are coming up. Okay, so now we are going to go into all these individual pages because that's where all the magic happens. That's where all the important stuff is. So going into My Trips first, this is where the bulk of your information for the travel planner is going to be stored. So you can see it in different views. You have your upcoming travel, your potential travel, and your past trips. And based on the dates that you put in, it has a little countdown of how many days left till your trip. Or if you're on your trip, it'll say enjoy your trip currently. Or for past trips, it'll say like how many days ago this trip happened. So let's pretend we want to go in and add a new trip. You would just click new, and then you would use this template that I already have set up for you called new trip. From there, you would change the name of the trip. So I'm supposed to be taking a spring break trip with my friends to Portugal, right? So then you would add in the trip dates. Mine is going to be next weekend, so the 6th, and then you would include the end date to the 9th, so it has it for you. And then I would list this as an upcoming trip because I know it's definitely happening. And then for the trip type, it's a trip with my friends. And then the cities that we are going to Porto, so I would add that new city, and then I would also add Lisbon. Use this new city icon and it would be good. And then the country would be Portugal. Okay, so going back into that spring break trip, I'm gonna make it full screen so it's easier to see. You can also add in a cover. You would add the country that you're going to as well. And then scrolling down, you add in your flight info if you're taking a flight. You can also change it to a train, bus, whatever kind of transportation you're taking. You would just add in all that info, the airport that you land in, the departure time, arrival time, etc. And then scrolling down, you also have these 3 links. I'm gonna go into them in 1 second, but let me continue on this page specifically. You would embed any of your important documents like passport, visa. That's super important to always have on you when you're traveling in Europe. And then you can also change the Google Maps link. Say I search up Porto, Google Maps, then I would simply copy the link and replace the Paris one that's already embedded in here. And then scrolling down, the things on this table, you would add in any restaurants or cafes you want to try. You can also see them in a gallery view and attractions to visit. And then You would also edit your itinerary. This one was my one for Paris, and you would have your travel journal entry. I'm going to show you guys an example of a completed one just so it's easier to go through, but you understand how to add a new trip to your template. So let's go back to my trips. So this is the one I created for my study abroad semester in France. It has like the same details as before, my flight info. You can see the restaurants and cafes in either gallery view or table view. You would just check them off as you're planning or looking for places to visit, and then you can also have them in table view and add in the address. So everything is very easily accessible, and it's the same with the attractions to visit on this page. And then for itinerary, each time you want to add a new item, you just click new, you would type in the name. So let's say one thing that I want to go do on day 3 of my trip in Paris would be going to see the Dior gallery. And then I would just add in like a little emoji. I'll just add an address emoji, as well as the date that I'm gonna go. And let's include a time as well in case you have like a specific reservation. So let's say I'm going at 3 p.m. And then you would just add the address, so copy and paste it. I don't have it on me right now, but you get the gist of it. If anything changes, you can also like drag and drop the days things are happening for your itinerary. And then the last little part of this before I go into each of the individual links is the travel journal. So you would just add a new day, add the little icon of the book, open, and then you would just add the date, and then add the trips. You would just filter it out based on the name of the trip. This trip is France, so we would keep it as study abroad trip in France, and it would be good. Now we are going to go into even more of the pages inside the individual trips. So the first page in here is the packing list, where you pretty much just have everything organized by different categories of what you need to pack, so you make sure that you don't forget anything when you're going on your trip. So I have a toiletries section, miscellaneous, clothes, electronics, need to buy. You can easily like add a new category, but you can see it either in a board view like this or table view, whichever you prefer. Going back to the individual page, the next important section is the budgeting page. And honestly, I think this is arguably one of the most important factors when planning a trip, because you want to make sure you don't spend all of your money in one go. So the way this works is that you are able to set a budget for each of your different categories. I said for food and drink 200, it automatically syncs to the expense chart. So let's say we went to have brunch at Ella Cafe, let's say it was $25, put in the date of the transaction, put the category as food and drink, and then it automatically updates the tracking bar to see whether you can still spend or if you're over budget. So you can see this budgeting tab either as a gallery view or as a table view. If you want to add a new category, you just click new, name it, and add your budget, and then you are good to go. Perfect. So going back into the study abroad page, the next link that you have in each individual trip is the bookings page, where you have documentation of everything you have booked in advance, so you know to come back to it. Like my first thing here for transportation, it was my flight. I added in the trip name, my departure time, arrival time, etc. Same with accommodation, and you can do the same with an activity. So let's say we want to add a new activity, we just use this activity name. Let's say for the icon, I just want to use a heart, hot chocolate at Creds. You just have the reservation time and date. And then you can even add a reminder for yourself. And then you add your address and you are good to go. That is pretty much it for the individual trips page. Now we're gonna go back home to the travel planner and go into the other pages. So the next thing that you have as part of your travel hub is a countries page, where I have listed out almost every single country. It's organized by continent already for you, and when you're trying to plan trips or thinking of where you may want to go someday, you can add things to your bucket list, or once you visit something you can check it off and say you visited it. And then you can see the countries based on whether you visited them or your wish list. So the next page in this planner is cities, which is another database. You add what country it's in, it's linked to that, and it's also linked to the trip that you've taken in the past, just so you have everything organized for you in a table view. And then the next page in this planner is a travel journal, where you can see your journals from every single trip you've ever taken. They're organized by trip name. every time you have a new journal, you just add the date and you can start writing, add pictures, think little mementos that you want to remember the trip by. I think it's really cute and important to have as part of a travel planner. And then the very last page in this planner is a language learning hub, because I went to travel to Italy and I realized I knew no Italian, and that it's really important to try to learn like the basics of each language when you go visit somewhere, just so that you can get around and are not super lost. The first thing that you see in a language learning hub is the different languages that you have. So let's say I wanted to add a new one. Let's say I want to start learning Spanish. For my level, it would be complete beginner because I've never taken Spanish before. And then the next thing here is your language lessons, where you can add in your notes, and it's separated by language for you. And then you can also just see all lessons without it being separated by language. So for French, we have like the subjunctive that I've been learning, so I just took some notes. And then the next thing on here is a vocabulary chart, where you can add any new words that you've been learning, definition of them, as well as any synonyms, so I keep learning words. And then the last thing on this page is a little language learning study log, where you're able to add in the name of the lesson and then the language, as well as how long you decide to study for it in minutes, the date that you studied, and any files, just so you can see like how consistent you have been with trying to learn the language. But yeah, we are just gonna go back home, and that concludes all the pages in this planner. I feel like it's really compatible for beginners who have maybe never used Notion before. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps you in your travel planning. If you guys are interested in purchasing the planner, please check out my Etsy. I've linked it down below. Please like and subscribe, and request any other video content that you think I should make. Bye guys, see you next time.